What's up, everybody? Hey, sorry I've been gone a while. What a fun time, isn't it, to have a team in the Texans where you just have a ton of hope going into next year. Then they go out and they make some really good draft picks. And I want to talk about one that is a guy that doesn't look like he's anything spectacular, doesn't look like a spectacular NFL talent. But then when you dive a little bit deeper, when you look at the production, when you look at the athleticism, when you look at the program he came from, when you watch the tape, all of a sudden you realize this guy has all the makings to be a perfect replacement in a few years for a player that likely is going to be leaving. So the Texans stole, I think, in the fourth round, a phenomenal future starting tight end in this league, and that is nobody other than Cade Stover, the tight end from Ohio State. Now, if you're new to this channel, couple things to remember. We love teams that the national media ignores, these smaller market NFL teams, or at least smaller fan bases. And we're Lions fans. We don't try to hide that. You see my Lions gear on. Also a big Michigan fan. So when I'm talking huge about how good Cade Stover is, and I'm talking about how good CJ Stroud is, and my love for them, don't worry, I still got the Nico Collins jersey back there. But like when I'm talking about these things, you know that it must be real. So when you look at ESPN, the take is that, okay, of course, the take is Stover reunites with his former college quarterback, CJ Stroud. Yeah, it's a very good decision. All right, Stover had over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns in his career, which is essentially 2 years of consistent playing time, and was first team All Big Ten in this past year. The Texans are invested in their future at tight end beyond recently signed Dalton Schultz. I want to come back to Dalton Schultz in just a little bit. All right, and former 2021 draft pick Brevin Jordan is an impending free agent next offseason. Stover gives them depth that could potentially become a contributor if Jordan walks after 2025 or in 2025. All right, so let's talk about who Stover is. Like, who is this guy exactly, and why am I so excited about who he is? So, Cade Stover is a guy that honestly just simply put up good numbers. He just put up good numbers. That's what he did. All right, he put up good numbers. I'll show them to you here. It was consistent, nothing earth-shattering. Remember, this is college. And remember, he was playing on a team that just had a ridiculous amount of wide receiver talent. So he's listed here at 6'4", 251 pounds. All right, the last 2 years he basically put up, he got better every year. His freshman year didn't do much of anything. His sophomore year, he started playing better. 36 catches, 406 yards. And then last year, 41 catches for 576 yards. All right. I just remember him as being a consistent tight end that seemed to be really, really good. I remember always playing against Michigan. I'm like, man, this guy's really solid. This guy's really solid. And that's exactly what he was. He was solid. But I never thought about him as an athlete. And so when I started looking in, and I even made a video for the Texans talking about, like, all right, what's Cade Stover's future? Like, should they draft him? And I even made a video about how they should draft him. All right, because I was sold after watching the production on the field. I was like, oh, he is a pretty good athlete. All right, he gets knocked for his size, which isn't terrible. All right, his height is 6'3". All right, and 6'3.5". He's 247 pounds in underwear, right? And he has great speed, like really good speed, 4.65 40. All right, and everything else there is fine. His vertical is good. Everything else is fine. A player that compares to here is Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz comes in at 5'3", about an inch taller, same weight. All right, he has good speed, not quite as great, but his vertical is almost the exact same. Like, this is a guy that actually reminds me more than anything else of their current starting tight end, Dalton Schultz. And he has a familiarity with his quarterback, CJ Stroud. So now you'll have two tight ends on the roster. Both will have 1 or 2 full years of playing with Stroud and understanding what it is. So what about Brevin Jordan? All right, I was looking at Brevin Jordan too, and I was just blown away. blown away. Because when you see Brevin Jordan, you think to yourself, oh man, this guy's got a lot of athleticism. You bring him out, he's a fast tight end. He's slower based on his 40 time somehow than Cade Stover. So don't let the big arm brace or whatever he wore for games at Ohio State, when you're seeing it in highlights, don't let that fool you, because he actually is now the fastest tight end on this roster. He can immediately come in and give you a vertical threat down the middle, which is awesome, but he will be a better blocker than Brevin Jordan. He will be. So I think his ceiling is, if I can be completely honest, his ceiling is Dalton Schultz, if not better. And then when you look at his statistics, when you look at his numbers, his run block grade is okay. It's 54.4, but for a tight end, that's not terrible. He needs to do some work on his run blocking. I will admit that. But his receiving grade is 79.4. It's absolutely fantastic. His yards per route run was one of the tops from all tight end in the country last year. He knows how to get depth on his routes. He knows how to do these things. So when you're looking at Cade Stover, you're looking at a guy who could be the future. He could be a tight end here for the next 6, 7, 8 years of effectiveness, even though, yeah, he first is going to take a second or a back seat to Dalton Schultz. But there's nothing wrong with having two really solid tight ends. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So I love this pick. I don't know where you guys are at. Let me know what your thinking is. When I look at the draft and I look at everything that they're doing, I think it was fantastic. As we take a look here at the depth chart, right? You're going to see him put in already at number 2. All right, I agree with that. I think he's the number 2 tight end from day one. You have to give a nod to the Blake Fisher pick at right tackle. We're going to go ahead. I'll talk more about that in another video and what I think about Blake Fisher and that fit, because that seemed to be the one struggle bus is, what are we going to do? I understand stuff on the inside, but also, like, what are we going to do at right tackle? Are we going to move Titus Howard back out there? Are we going to, move Green back in at the guard? Kenyon Green, can he become the guard again? Well, now you have some pieces where you can build a lot of competition on this offensive line, and I think you can actually get some depth there. All right? The Kamari Lassiter pick, that was interesting to me. I felt like there was a better, if you're going to get a slot nickel, just nickel, let's call him nickel, a slot corner, like, you probably could have just gotten Mikey Sainers still. But Kamari Lassiter is going to give you a little more size. He's going to give you a little more maybe athletic upside, not positive, just body-wise. But that was good. They get Kalen Bullock. I thought they did a good job rounding out their team here, but I wanted to set aside this guy for who I think was going to be somebody that will be absolutely beneficial for this team going forward. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. We're pushing for 15,000 subs. Really enjoying it, and we hope to see you soon the next time we make a video. Thanks for watching. See you.